So let's talk all about Jiren. And the question that I'm posing here on this video, I posed it first to the Geekdom 101 Facebook page. Join the community over on facebook.com/geekdom101. I love my Facebook community. Almost everybody on there is really, really cool, and they're always giving their thoughts, and they're so supportive. You're going to have your bad apples pop up once in a while, you know, crying and bitching about stupid shit, but the vast majority of folks on there are really, really awesome, and that's why I like to ask them questions. So the question that we're asking today is Jiren too overhyped? This dude Jiren was first introduced to us way back around February or so. And, you know, in the intro to Super, we saw him in some of the promotional material, and he's been kind of the guy who's been, I guess, promoted as being Goku's rival. Is the dude too overhyped? I've thought about it. I'm going to get to you guys' thoughts. And, of course, you know, on the Facebook. And, of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, which I'm sure almost all of you pretty much are. In fact, you have to be. It's a YouTube video. Definitely remember to leave your comments and answer the question. Is Jiren too overhyped? And is he getting too much buildup? Because I would say he definitely is the most overhyped character in Super. Not in Dragon Ball necessarily, but definitely in Super, because they didn't really hype Hit Up that much compared to Jiren. Goku Black got a lot of hype for just about a month or two, but remember, the Trunks arc was revealed just a little bit before the arc actually began. This Universal Survival arc has gone on for so long, and we've seen Jiren for such a long time, that it feels like this dude's just been constantly, you know, promoted to us. So let's go ahead and get to some of these answers here. Of course, this is first come, first serve. So if you don't get your response read on the YouTube video, you know, my bad on that. There's literally, according to this, like 300 or so responses at 371 comments. So first come, first serve here. First one here from AJ Briggs. I believe he's really strong, but all the hype makes me think of Monaka. He's not going to be like Monaka. We know that for a fact based on all the previews that we've gotten for this character. I don't think he's going to be a joke character at all, but I have more to say on this. Patrick here says, at the moment I'd say yes, but it's honestly going to come down to how good the content is with him, so that could change. Yeah, basically what I think he's trying to say is Jiren might end up being very impressive, you know, combat-wise, but then if he ends up blowing his, you know, just blowing it as a character, whether it be because he's not that interesting or whether it be because they don't utilize him correctly, then that could, of course, diminish how we feel about him. Sai Ganesh, he will fulfill our hype 100% guaranteed. Well, I would agree with you, except that the problem with Dragon Ball and with really anything entertainment is that you can't satisfy every fan. So people are just, there's going to be some folks that just aren't going to be happy with it, and that's fine. But we'll see. Richie says, I don't believe he's overhyped. Maybe too OP, but not overhyped. If Jiren somehow beats Goku in his new form, it might ruin this arc for me. Well, I predicted on this channel that Jiren is going to defeat Goku, and that's going to take several people to beat him. The reason why I feel strongly about this is because I think the idea of Jiren by himself, with no flukes, defeating Goku's new form, I think it works because it allows them to carry the Jiren-Goku rivalry going forward. We know that Goku's got a rivalry with Hit right now, sort of, you know, kind of, sort of, and you know, obviously he's got the one with Frieza, which may never end. Who knows where that's going to go. But I think having Jiren win the first fight between them is going to allow us to kind of want to see if Goku can beat this guy in a rematch. You know, later on in Super. I'm talking about after this arc. Because contrary to what some may believe, this is not the final arc of Super. So something else is going to happen with this guy, and I think him winning gives Goku a new goal to reach, if that makes sense. Tomas Contreras. No, and to be honest, I'm glad he's a silent type. Adds more mystery to him. I agree with that. I don't think, the thing about Jiren is he may end up being one of those characters like Hit where we really don't know too much about him, and that may end up being a positive. Them keeping his backstory a secret, as much as I personally want to see the backstory of Hit and the backstory of Jiren, may be effective, at least until Super's over, when they can release like guidebooks and things like that and extra material that will explain that. So I'm okay with that, to be honest. Darius Hill says he's just as hyped as he needs to be. There's always needs to be that carrot for Goku to chase in terms of power, and being a rival, and Jiren is it. Agreed there. The thing is that I've seen people say that Jiren is more overhyped than Frieza, and one thing you have to put into perspective is I think, a lot of folks, because we in the West got introduced to Dragon Ball Z different than the Japanese, I think that we don't understand or have that same perception. I certainly understand, and most of you do, but you got to follow me on this one, of Frieza and how much he was hyped up. Because Frieza was hyped up as the strongest character in the universe, back then, in Dragon Ball Z for several months. In fact, I would dare say years, because you have to remember DBZ back then in Japan. I'm not talking about Toonami or syndication. I'm talking about Japan before DVDs, before Blu-rays, was airing one episode a week. And you know how long that Frieza saga was. So we didn't even see Frieza go into his full form until well over a year and a half after he had premiered. So again, I think Frieza may have been more hyped up than Jiren in Z. In Super, nobody's more hyped up than Jiren. Claude C. Kenny says, anybody that they show powerful eventually will be shown weak somehow. That is pretty true, I would say. I think they've protected Hit a little bit. Maybe having Dispo, get a lot of licks on him may not have been enough. Or maybe having Goku beat him in their rematch maybe was a mistake. But you're right. I mean, I can't even argue this, in that at some point, when these characters get surpassed, they end up losing some of that luster. I think Vegeta has done a pretty good job of hanging in there. I think Frieza, the way they've brought him back, even though the writing in the Resurrection F story was not the best, the writing in this tournament, by bringing him back and giving him True Gold and Frieza, I think they've done a good job with him. So, but again, to your point, when Frieza came back to Earth after the Frieza saga and Trunks cut him up, yes, he was made to look weak, or at least weaker than Trunks. Not weak, just weaker than Trunks. So, I actually would like it if Jiren did not go down that path. I want Jiren to actually, and again, it goes back to the fact that I want Jiren to win, and I think he's going to win to protect Jiren for future battles. I kind of wish that they would do it to where Jiren might be the one guy that Goku just cannot beat. But we've also kind of got that already going with the Omni King, with Beerus. So, I don't know where they're going to go with it, really. It could go a few different ways. But I don't know if he should ever really be shown as being weak. I think if Goku does defeat him, it needs to be one of those things where Goku barely beats him. Kind of like how Goku, when he beat Piccolo in the 23rd tournament, Goku barely got out alive. I like those kind of fights more than just Goku getting a new form and just whooping his ass. Like, Goku versus Frieza was a fun fight, but it wasn't as dramatic. Even though they tried to make it dramatic with the planet blowing up and whatnot, it wasn't as dramatic as the Piccolo fight, because remember, in the Piccolo fight, Piccolo broke all of Goku's bones. He just destroyed this dude, and Goku flew and headbutted him and barely won. So, I like those kind of fights where it's like down to the last move. That's the best Dragon Ball, if you ask me. Kenneth says, the fact that we know Kaioken Blue times 20 won't be able to compete, there's no way there's too much build-up. The only way there's too much build-up is the writers don't dedicate enough time to him. Yeah, it's tough to... I can't answer that right now, obviously. We'll find out. Albert says, way too much. I feel like we might get a letdown from the fight. Hopefully not. Well, I can tell you that animation-wise, we probably won't. But I think that some folks are going to want the fight to be like 10 episodes. And while Dragon Ball Z certainly had a lot of very, very long fights. Very long. I don't see Super having fights that long. But I'll be honest with you, I would be okay with it for this one. Like, I think this Goku Jiren fight, I don't know how long it's going to go. But if it goes 5, 6, 7 episodes, I'd be fine with it. Or if the rematch goes 6, 7 episodes, I would be okay with it. Let me know if you agree with me on that, in the comments. But every other fight we've seen has not gone that long. Even, like, when they were fighting Mirza Zamasu, even that was only about 4 or 5 episodes. It seemed longer, though, because we're watching it weekly. Remember, when it was on Toonami, it was every day, Monday through Friday, then we had seasonal breaks. Or if you're one of those fans that bought the orange bricks or bought the Blu-rays later on, you binge watched it. Watching it week to week is a totally different perspective. Raquel says yes. All right, well, thanks. Dusterius Percapile. I think the hype is too much. Frieza destroyed planets in his base form and got next to no hype. Disagreed. Frieza got tons of hype. And him doing that back then was an impressive feat. Seeing Frieza, you got to think back. You got to remember, guys, you got to put your brain back then. Like, forget what we have now. Ignore it if you can. Block it out. Put your brain back in the 90s. When you see Frieza with one finger blow up planet Vegeta in the Bardock special, That was impressive. So you're watching and you're like, okay, this dude blew up a planet with one finger. What could he do to Goku? So I think he was, without question, super overhyped. He's stronger than Goku, yes, but so has every other main hype guy he's fought. Well, that is certainly true. But you can't say Frieza wasn't hyped. Seth, I can't pronounce your last name. I don't think he's a super build-up, but I can't wait for the mortal stronger than the guy show up and face Jiren and Goku if it happens. Some people think that is Jiren. Some think it's a guy from Universe 4, or a guy from Universe 11, or someone from one of the other 4 universes. We'll see, because it might be Jiren or it might not be. It's going to be interesting to see where that goes, because you're right, they have that in their back pocket. Alan, that's not the question I asked, brother, but thank you. But I think I see where you're going with that, though. He says that Universe 7 wins by the amount of fighters left in the end tournament. So basically he's saying that Jiren might not necessarily get beat by Goku, but that Universe 7 wins, they have the most guys left. I mean, it's possible, but we'll see. John Marrero says, I don't think so. Cell and Majin Buu were evil, a good enemy. I don't know, especially when he's cheating. Well, we don't know anything about Jiren cheating yet. That hasn't happened. Sanad says, I think Goku will soon overpower him, but we'll have a super hard time before that. Well, that would make sense. Other than that, I think he was definitely overhyped, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. David James Capezuto says, overhyped, no, OP, yes. Dude just came out of nowhere like an RKO and puts fear into Goku like I've never seen before. That's the thing. I don't know if I fully agree with you on that. I don't think Goku's afraid of him. I think Goku's excited to fight him. I don't think fear is the right word there, even though I do sort of see how you're using the word. I know what you mean. You mean to say that he has impressed Goku. He says here, one-shotting people, about to take a blue max Kaioken. What is he using? I need it. Well, he's obviously using a lot of roids, bro, because you've seen that guy's freaking arms. I wonder if Harold Von Hugen muscles is going to be covering that. Omar says, I personally think he's worth the hype. His powering up shocked Goku, so I believe he's the real deal. Well, yeah, I mean, he is. They just need to justify the new transformation, so Jiren has to be hyped. I mean, I think that the idea of giving Goku a new transformation, to me, is getting a little bit played out, to be honest with you. I'm not a fan of it. I don't think that they created Jiren specifically so that they can have a reason for Goku to get the new transformation. I don't know if that's necessarily the case, because they could have done that last arc, or next arc. I think it was just an idea that Toriyama had. I just think if Goku gets a new form and just beats this guy's ass, like I think if he just goes in there and just destroys him, I think that's a little anticlimactic. And I know that Goku hasn't really done that well in Super. Like, you know, if you count the movie retellings, he didn't really beat Beerus, didn't really beat Frieza, even though he killed him at the end. He had trouble with Goku Black a lot. You know, he didn't really fully beat Hit. So Goku has not had that big grand victory, and maybe now is the time. But I feel like if he does it, I don't want it to be like new form, Raffle Stomp. I want it to be to where Goku really has to struggle even with the new form, even if he wins. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Brett says, what if he's only good for like 1 or 2 strong attacks and then needs to recoup? I feel like Topo and Dispo keep apologizing if he has to step in. I see what you mean. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Not enough evidence yet. Raquel again says, I don't think Jiren the main threat, something's going to happen. Yeah, I've talked about that before too. Different topic though. That's a different topic. Frank Castle, I feel like he's going to be strong one way or another, but he's getting a lot of hype with no return yet. Well, it's coming up, man. We got just a few days left till that special. So we're going to definitely see something. Andres Padilla, or maybe it's Padilla. He's a little overhyped since we know little about him, but him being the strongest or one of the strongest face Goku makes up for it. Yeah, I mean, that's going to happen. Can't pronounce that name. Yes, it's all the hype. Personally, Hit also has many techniques up his sleeve. He can't use all his power. If Hit can go against Goku now with Kaioken times 20, he'll improve again. Yeah, that's true. I mean, there is a possibility that if he survives Goku's Kaioken times 20, he'll get better. We have another guy for Goku to be a rival with. I'm okay with Goku having multiple rivals. Vegeta, Frieza, Jiren, Hit, and even Gohan, if they want to give him that shine. You know, and that won't be the same kind of rivalry, but you know, maybe he'll find out that Gohan can be very strong, stronger than we thought. I like that. I think it creates a better story and a more interesting story. Though Jiren is strong in raw power, he's still too much hype. Well, I see where you mean. Luke Castillo, I feel like he's overhyped, but at the same time, with so much build-up, it should be easy to deliver our expectations. This is Super, after all. It's done a much better job than Z so far. Disagreed. I do not think Super is as good as Dragon Ball Z for various reasons. There are things that Super does do that are cool, and there are things that Super does better than Z, but not many. I still think Dragon Ball and Z is a better story. I'm not sure if you really mean that, but that's what I think. Will Put says, that's a cool name. No, but I don't think he's the one who Whis hinted as the mortal that's even stronger than a god couldn't defeat. And that was foreshadowing for a future arc. It definitely could be. In fact, the idea of this tournament being interrupted and something leading to another arc is still a possibility. We can never forget that. A couple more, we're going to get out of here. Claude C. Kenny, no one stays powerful forever. He will have to shine. He will have his shine in being overpowered, but eventually we'll see him being weak. Not no time soon, but eventually. Again, I don't know if weak is the right word. I think him getting beaten does not mean that he's weak. If they actually make him weak, weak is like Dr. Rota, okay, or like Frost. Like, well, even Frost looked pretty good for a while, but I would consider Frost weak. I don't want him to. I don't think weak is the right word. But he's going to get beat. I mean, I would assume Jiren will get beat at some point. Last one here from Ulysses Ruiz. Jiren is the hyped. LOL. I do accept Jiren to fill our expectations by him. The Ningen is powerful as ASF. He Jiren hype. Not much there to say. I'm going to get one more here from Matt. He says here, we needed someone to hype Super. Just saying he's strong and never showing a backstory kind of feels forced. Well, they've done the same thing with Hit. And that is, right there, is one of the criticisms of Super, is that I don't think these characters get enough backstory. That's one of the things that I do wish that they would do, is give more explanations and more backstories. If you want to make Hit a mystery, I get it. If you want to make Jiren a mystery, fine. Every character being a mystery, I don't know. I mean, it's like they've given us some stuff with Kaba, Caulifla, Kale, Frost. You know, they've given us some, but I still feel like there's so much more. Like, I want to know more about Magetta and the Machine Men. I want to know more about the Universe 2, superheroes or whatever. I want to know more. And I do hope that they give it to us eventually, because Super's introduced way more characters in a short period of time than Z has. So they kind of have to do that, or at least give us like manga or something that tells us more, like extra material. I would take that versus them never telling us anything. That's it, folks. Let me know, is Jiren overhyped? Looking forward to the special this weekend. We're going to get some information on it very, very soon, I'm sure. If we haven't already gotten it, I'm recording this video, early in the week, so maybe something is up by now. But the topic still stands. Is he overhyped? Let me know. Thank you so much for your constant support of Geekdom 101, and thank you to all of you who donated for the charity stream for the Hurricanes. We raised up $1,500 or so. I think it was $1,539. I'm going to add in some of my own money to that, and I will make the donation very soon. I'll tell you guys all about it. And I want to thank you so very much for that. It means so much to me. And you guys are awesome. I appreciate it, and hope you all have a great day. Take care of yourself and each other.